Welcome to the Freedom Salon podcast. I'm Whitney. I'm so excited to have my friend Amanda Parise on here. She is the owner of Simplifystyle, a organizing company. I'm so excited to have Amanda on the podcast today because I feel like it's a new year. It's 2022. A lot of people's New Year's resolutions are reorganizing and being a version of their best self. And what her company has done for me and my salon has helped me so much. So really quick, give me a little bit about your story, what you do, your company, all the things.
Yes. Well, it definitely is exactly what you said. It is about being the best version of yourself. And that's kind of something I ask all my clients is, what does life look like in a perfect world?
Yes.
And we really dig into that and kind of go from there, and we create that. If it's about a morning routine, an evening routine, we're going to set you up for success on that.
Yes.
If it's about just, I need my life to be super easy and just know where everything is, we go in and create a space for everything to where the reset is very simple and life just gets to function much easier. The edit has a lot to do with that. A lot of times it's just kind of taking away things that feel heavy. That's really what it's about for us, is what it feels like when you walk into your room and in your space.
Yes. No matter what space.
No matter what space. And it being a place that you can recoup and be creative, and whatever is the most important thing to you, that's what we want to create the space around.
I love that. Just a quick backstory for you all. I met Amanda, I think my son was a month old.
Yes.
It was right before the pandemic hit, like February 2020. I was a new mom. I was overwhelmed. I had been on bed rest for, I think, like a month and a half. And so my house, like right before my son came, kind of gotten really out of whack. We were trying to make room for his new things, all this stuff. One of my friends had used her and was like, you need Amanda. And you came to my house and literally like changed my life, changed my family's life. It's more than what some people would consider just like a Netflix show. Like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make you have the perfect pantry and everything is going to be like color coded and everything. It's way more than that. I love what makes you different is I feel like you actually care about how we live our lives.
Yes.
And then create the space around that. So tell me like your thought process, like when you meet someone. Like, what's your first like go-to, like when you in a meeting, or what should somebody know, like when they are looking to hire an organizer?
Yes. I think the most important thing I would want people to know is, regardless of where you're at, like I'm already seeing you on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. I can come in and you being overwhelmed with the way we were. I mean, there was preemie clothes when we started, and that whole process, and just setting up the space based on the routines that you guys had kind of organically fell in, and setting up the space to be so simple, as simple as possible. I mean, an infant isn't simple, but just to make that about the memories and the connection, not about an overwhelming space. To take that away and just leave room for joy and happiness and just snuggles. I love that part. And that's my favorite part.
And it was like game changing. And I feel like even more of a backstory on me, like that's always been a struggle. And I feel like this was important for me to do this episode because in the salon industry, a lot of us are creatives. And when we are creatives and creative people, like organization is not our strong suit. Like we want to go fly by the seat of our pants. But then the flip side of it, if everything's a mess and everything is array, it takes up so much like space in our brains.
Yes.
Then we can't be creative, like our best creative selves, because things are literally everywhere. So when you come in to work with me, I know that like the first thing we did was like pull everything out. And that like stressed me out so much.
Oh, it's bad, isn't it?
But you were like, trust me, like I've got this. Like you made me feel like not judged, I guess, because I think it's like almost like this like secret I had like to myself, like, oh no, like I don't want anyone to see this. Like, I guess it's like the way people are raised or the way anything like in their homes, in their desks. Like I know like professionals, like the way they keep their desks at work or the way we keep our stations at the salon, which we're going to get more into that later. Yes. Like it can be a little scary.
It is. I try to warn people that we're like professional mess makers because it is complete chaos. Like, and it has to happen that way.
Yeah.
A lot of times, pull everything out. I mean, if that is terribly stressful, go get your nails done or come in, enjoy the process and just be prepared as possible.
I love that you can be there and like make the mess. Like I like being there with you because like we talk, like she's actually one of my friends. Like we talk and it's fun. But I know like that could be really stressful for somebody. And I know what's great about your company is you do like there's times I've had to like run an errand or pick up my son or actually couldn't be there because of life, like the day we did the salon. And I felt like 100% comfortable to have you just do it.
Yeah.
So what levels of degree do you do? Like, is it just really depend on the person? Like if someone were to hire you, would you be like, okay, like I need you here for this amount of time? Like, what does that look like for the client? Because I think a lot of us don't even know where to begin or what to expect.
Yeah, I think that there's two different types of client. It kind of falls into two categories. And it could also be the same client, but each session fall into a different category. So there's the times where we're together and it's about the coaching and the systems and finding that perfect balance. And then there's other times where it's, okay, we got this. I'm going to zone everything out. You're going to come back and it's going to could be a little chaotic, but it's going to be prepared to make decisions and kind of take the overwhelm away and reserve your capacity. If the capacity is kind of low at that time, then we're very intentional. And typically I'll just be able to kind of pull that from the client and know what direction we need to go in and where they're at.
And that's why you're so gifted. Because it's hard, like when you're getting rid of your stuff, like that's very emotional for some people, but it's kind of like part of the process. You have to do it in order to like live a better life. I know that's really crazy. And I'm not even like going all like crazy minimalist on it, but I feel like when you have this like abundance of just things everywhere, it's really hard for me, especially to be like my most creative best self.
For sure. I think that your surroundings are kind of a bit of a direct reflection to kind of what's going on inside.
Yes.
So if we can calm that space down, then it kind of gives your brain some space.
Yes.
To
do what you love.
To do what you love.
Yeah.
Or to focus in on whatever chapter that is in your life. But to take that down a notch and just create that space that gives you room to be your best self. It really is all about that.
Yeah, I love that. What is a room or what is a space that you would say across the board is an issue for most people?
Oh my goodness.
I know that's like a very loaded question.
Laundry rooms. Laundry rooms are tough. Pantries are tough. We just ask so much out of our space a lot of times. And so I think what happens is different worlds fall into each other.
Yeah.
So
I know it has in my house, and I'm sure it has for plenty of y'all listening.
Yes. So it is a little bit of a give a mouse a cookie situation. So if we're starting in a pantry or a laundry room, very rarely is that the only thing that's in there? It tends to have overflow. So I think that overflow spaces are really difficult.
Yeah. Like where you come in. I know like our big issue is like laundry room, kitchen, because it's like where we all come in from our house.
Yes.
You know, or like from the garage, like carrying our stuff, and then that's where it is.
I think the drop zone is one of the most important places because if we can and when we can, we want to leave as much clutter as possible at the door.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just tends to fall into your spaces.
Yes.
Even if you don't have an area, we tend to create something that resembles an area that you can just leave all of that behind. If it's work stuff, this is where it goes.
Yes.
Like come in, recoup, enjoy your space.
Yes.
So that's a really important space to create.
I know that like I have an issue with that, like the drop zone. And I don't do it well in my house. And then
I think you do it so well.
And then I like bringing it back to beauty. I have an issue with beauty, like where I get ready, like my beauty products, my makeup, my hair stuff. I just keep buying and it just explodes. So what if somebody were wanting to like redo their beauty space, like in their home where they get ready, do their hair, like what would be your number one thing? Like, where would they start? Number one.
Oh my gosh. So I have to practice what I preach, which is what I tried to do I think, what was it, 2 days ago?
Yes.
I took everything out of my own space, every skincare product, every makeup product, every hair product. And it's an outrageous amount. It's something I also struggle with.
Yes.
I have no idea what
it's almost like our wardrobes. Like everybody talks about like capsule wardrobes. Like I feel like we consume beauty stuff, especially during the holidays. Because there's all these holiday sets.
Yes.
And you're like, I want this. I want all the things. But then you might only use like for your daily.
Right.
You don't use that much.
No. So what I did just in my own space, I took everything out onto my dining room table, and my husband just had to like lock himself away because it was overwhelming in our space too.
Yes.
Broke everything out into the categories.
Yes.
And got rid of anything I wasn't using, anything expired, which tends to be a ridiculous amount when you actually pull it all out.
That you do that because you've helped me with that, because it's like, I'll have this like makeup palette from like 2015.
I think there's
it's Jacqueline Hill, and it was her first one, and I don't want to get rid of it. But then when you check the dates on some of these things, like, and we know as beauty professionals things expire, but it's hard sometimes to practice what you preach with things.
I think there's also emotions and memories attached, because there's, especially like those makeup palettes, that was a season of your life.
Yes. Or a special event or an occasion. And like, there's so much more to it versus like, oh, I'm so messy, I don't get rid of stuff. Like there's a whole backstory going on.
Oh my gosh. No, give yourself so much grace on that. It's real.
Yes.
Like it's very, very real.
Yes.
I did end up in that particular space, have one drawer for my daily stuff. And then underneath my sink, I have everything categorized and labeled that is not something I use every day.
Okay.
So you have like you've heard me say this 100 times, like your prime real estate.
Yes.
So you want to get that down to a very easy routine.
Yes.
And then separate out the categories that you would pull out every once in a while for an event or a date night.
But like your daily routine, which most women, most of us have, like our daily go-tos, like especially if you're a mom out there, professional, like I have my routine down. This is what I do.
Yes.
You know what your stuff is.
Yes. Everything else goes into a secondary location, not far away. We're not talking like,
and that you did my vanity that way. And it really has helped. Like I have like what I need normally that I can literally get ready in 10 minutes, which is crazy to think. Like you would think, oh gosh, but really like 10 minutes, like boom, boom, boom. This is what you do. And I think like before when it would take me longer to get ready is because I couldn't find half of my stuff.
Yes. And like you said, after the holidays, I think once you've experienced this and we've gotten it to a place that it feels light and easy,
it's exciting.
But then you also become more sensitive to, wait, my space is feeling heavy again. Something's happening. My routine has changed. I've purchased things. And then it's like, it's time for the reset.
Oh, and I need it. I mean, I feel that way even like as a mom with like Wade's like toys from Christmas. I'm like, I have 2 huge pieces of furniture that store all his things. And I'm like, still like, where am I going to put all this stuff? Like, it's crazy.
Playrooms are big after the holidays.
Yes. Playrooms.
In general.
Yes, absolutely. 1002%. Like, I feel like that's probably actually the source of most of our mess in the Evans household is beauty products and playrooms, because we also get shipments from the salon sometimes to my personal house, and then it just like goes crazy everywhere.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yes.
But those are priorities. Like those are your big priorities. It's kind of who you are. That is where you're at in life right now.
That is exactly. And then you came in. So in the salon this year, we did this huge remodel starting in June.
Yes.
We wrapped up in like October, I guess is when we wrapped up.
Yeah.
You came in and you helped us because all of a sudden before our remodel, we had these like rooms that we could kind of shove things in and they were forgotten about. And then we had a back room that was kind of the same way. And like we were even struggling like as a salon family with the amount of people that were working, the amount of clientele we've seen because we've been fortunate enough for our business to grow. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. And you came in and you helped us and changed us so much. So for all the salon owners listening out there, suite owners, stylists, what is something that when you come into the salon, like what's the first priority for you? Like that, if someone were to try to do this themselves without hiring a professional, like what would you say like you would start with in a beauty space?
I think it starts with really focusing and paying attention to your organic and daily routines.
Yeah.
And don't fight that too much. Pay attention to your drop zones. Pay attention to...
Because we did have drop zones in
you
the salon.
had drop zones.
And I didn't even realize it until I'm like, oh my gosh, we have drop zones.
You did.
Yeah.
And we want to work with that. We don't want to... There is something to completely disrupting status quo for sure.
Yeah.
So there's that balance. Just trying to figure out what's my routine? Where is this typically landing?
Yeah.
And then creating zones for each thing.
Yeah.
Separating it out and to where no one's questioning where everything one category is. So that's create worlds, basically.
Especially, and I'm sure some of you out there listening could be in this, like, it was very overwhelming for me as an owner to constantly try to figure out where things were, like, as we were working throughout the day, because if one of my team members couldn't find it, they would ask me. And so then it would just be this like cloud of craziness going on in my head when I was like trying to do my job. And then I have one after another team members coming up and asking me where this color is, that color is, where do we keep extra towels, because we didn't ever have a designated space. Like we never started out with that. So it was just like wherever somebody put something up that was like trying to help then. So you coming in and creating a space for everything and letting the whole team know, like, this is where this is.
Yes. We don't want your brain to have to work so hard to figure out where things are or where it goes.
Too. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, because we do hair extensions. So we organize like new hair that comes in. We have product lines that we do for retail that we, have to organize. We have all of our color, all of our backstock color. Like, there was a lot.
There was a lot of worlds. There was a lot of worlds, and they were because I'm so honored and I love being kind of a part of this growth with you.
Yes.
I've kind of seen it before. And then, we started out with a small storage unit. Like you had a small storage space.
Yes.
That was kind of the catch-all.
Yes. And we had when I think the first time you come and reset the salon before the remodel and everything, I was like counting who we had. And I'm pretty sure it was like we've added a significant amount of people.
It was.
And the more people you add, the more chaos happens.
Yes. It's been incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. I think when we did it the first time, it was opening after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And
so we had, there's half of the people.
Restructuring the space then and kind of addressing some of this. So I had an idea of what you were up against a little bit, I think. But then you grew more.
And then we doubled, which was good.
Amazing, yes.
Yes. And it's good that we had a wider area, I feel like, for the stations. Like, I feel like you really helped with, like, bringing a vision of, okay, like, you could do this on this wall. Like, you could do this on this wall. And even opening for the pandemic, like, you had so many great ideas. Like, I know we had a private room for a while if like people were uncomfortable, and that
was a storage room.
Yeah, it was like nothing. And it's like your brain like came in and thought of that. So what would you tell like a salon owner that was really drowning in this area of their business with like, what would be like words of encouragement? Or, something that may like help them with their fears of hiring a professional or trying to tackle it themselves.
Yes. the most important thing is give yourself some grace.
Yes.
Like 100% give yourself grace. This has been a tough couple of years,
Yes.
for one. Your focus should be on being creative and connecting with clients. I mean, you guys have, not only are you making things beautiful, you know, helping people feel beautiful, yes, and creating beautiful hair and makeup, but so much of what you do is connecting.
Yeah.
So your capacity has to be there to make all of these things happen. So to calm down the space is really important for you to just be all in and to show up. I think that's kind of what I was recognizing is just so how much of yourselves
so we can just show up and do hair and things are where they're supposed to be, and we don't have to like think about that because the whole team's on board. They love it. Like they love the way it flows, like because it makes their lives easier. I think that's what has.
And I think that's most. Kind of what sets you guys apart too. Is you really are about the connection and the experience and what that means to be in your salon.
Yes. Thank you.
And
that's our number one goal. Was like, I don't care. Like I want client, person working there, everyone to feel like super. Like at home, I guess, when they come.
Oh, for sure. And because it really is an
crazy.
Experience.
Like we need to like chill out and have some fun. Like I want it to be like a safe haven from that, you know?
Yes.
I love that. And you've helped us so much.
It really is that. And I think that's where your focus is. And when you can outsource some of this stuff. And I think a lot of it has to do with just someone coming in with a different perspective. Yes. When you're in a space, you know, day in and day out.
It's hard. You almost get like cluttered from it. Like I get cluttered, like even in my own house, like, and then you'll come in and be like, oh, we'll just switch this around. And I'm like, but yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Why didn't I see that?
I would say if an organizer isn't in the budget or if you just can't find someone you connected with, which there's so many out there now. And I think we all come from the same place of just compassion and just empowerment, and you, like your biggest cheerleaders behind the scenes, just bring in a friend with a completely different perspective. Once you're in a space like that, it just kind of all falls into each other.
And it gets wild.
It gets wild. It just does. And after a remodel and everything, I think that it's fair to say overwhelmed, you just kind of get stuck. Like, where do you begin? Where do I start?
Yeah.
You have personal experiences with color being here and that worked, but it's here, or when we come in, we're not seeing it with how it's been in the past. We're seeing it how it can function in a perfect world.
Yes.
And we just don't have that same relationship with the space. We have a completely new relationship in different relationship with your space, I think.
Oh, like 110%. Like now I know, like when the orders come in, I feel like the team gets it up quick. Like it's just easy. Like it all flows. Like we don't have like a crazy amount of things piling up in the back like we did, you know, to where we're like having to walk through the break room. I remember being like embarrassed to leave that door open for clients to even see it because it was so crazy, like with like boxes from orders and extra things. And so now it's a happy space.
One thing you guys ended up having to do is get a storage unit.
Yes. And that was, I feel like as a business, like, you know, we lease our space where our salon is. We don't own it, you know, and so we just maximize, like we did have a storage room, I guess, at one point, but then as my business has grown, like the storage area wasn't making any business sense to keep it a storage area. And so we did invest in like a storage unit, and that really has helped tremendously because I can put extra backstock things in that for the salon. That's safe, like, but it doesn't like take up our daily space, but it's close enough to the salon that we can go get it if we need to.
I think that was kind of the ticket, is we created the spaces and the worlds or the zones. And then once you max out on that, it has to go to a secondary location.
It does.
And I think that that's okay and necessary sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like, I mean, not many of us are fortunate enough to just be able to build a dream salon from scratch.
That is beautiful.
That would be great, if you could just like design the whole building and the way everything's laid out. But that's not, reality for all of us yet, especially in these, we've been a company for almost 7 years now, which is crazy.
It's crazy and exciting.
Yes, that's crazy. So, with that being said, it takes time, to kind of find your groove and how you want your company to grow. And then sometimes it grows faster than you plan. And you have to kind of have a plan and a system for that. And I think that's what your business does for my business and my life. I do want to talk about some of the fun stuff though.
Okay.
So we all have Netflix. We've all probably watched the Home Edit or Marie Kondo and see these gorgeous spaces. What are some products or stores or places that you like to buy different organizational things at? What that from budget friendly, if you want to be super budget friendly to if you're I want to splurge, I want this to be Pinterest worthy, which it could be still Pinterest worthy on a budget.
Yes, absolutely. I think that Target, Walmart, they are all raising the bar.
Yeah. I just
on organizing products right now.
Walmart just launched a Home Edit line.
Yes, they did. It's very exciting.
And even the Drew Barrymore kitchen line, appliances being left out. I'm I'm going to need all that.
Yeah, it's beautiful and calm. And I think that that's part of it. I think it's important to mix the very functional items, but then I try to leave some negative space for sure, because your brain just needs to take a deep breath sometimes.
Yes.
And also mix in different textures and styles with baskets, or just get super creative with your containment. I think that figuring out that, and that's why we break everything down into zones, figuring out what's an appropriate volume. That would be the biggest thing I would say quickly is you have to put in the work first before the pretty things.
Yes, you have to go through and make literally she'll hold up things and be okay, this or this, which one do you want to keep? One, keep both, donate, whatever. And I'm okay, I'm done with it. And it's good.
It is good. And it's so, I think there's freedom on the other side of it.
There is. And you donate to charity a lot, which that with my heart, even with the salon things, it makes me feel good that I'm not just throwing something away that I may have spent my money on or whatever. It's going to somebody that needs it. Yeah. Especially with baby things.
Lots of baby things.
Maternity things, postpartum things. So I think that's a good avenue as well by hiring you in your company.
Yes. No, we love that part. I mean, I think part of it is just being responsible with the volume that we are, that we take in. It's just getting that to who could need it. But definitely on the product side, put in the work first. Yeah. Get everything out. Figure out what volume you really do need, and then get creative with containment. Yeah. We don't have a Container Store here in Knoxville.
I wish. I love know that Knoxville, but you are raging for it. And I've heard, I've seen things pop up on social media.
Yeah, we're trying
about hopefully. It would do so well. I think IKEA and a Container Store would be amazing. We're a college town. I just don't understand why it doesn't exist.
It would be life-changing.
Yes, it would be.
On the other side of that, I started my business in Raleigh and we had a Container Store and it was just really easy. Yeah. I mean, you could just go buy what you needed and move on. I do think that I've grown a ton as a business owner and as an organizer, having to get creative with sourcing local. Yeah. So I'm grateful for this, couple of years that, I mean, I can say that now, but it was definitely harder.
In the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. It was. But challenges make you better. So
yes, absolutely. Gets you. I feel it also makes you more creative.
Oh, it
when
does.
Things aren't just so because I know we ordered baskets from a small business.
Yeah,
and we
went with Neat Method for some of it. World Market for some of it.
Yes,
Target. We instead of walking in the Container Store, and just buying everything there and kind of almost getting stuck. I hate to say that in kind of a style and a look.
Yes.
Getting creative with the containment and just the different textures and mixing acrylic with the baskets and from different locations. That's been really fun. It wasn't fun at first. It's been a process, but I've enjoyed that part.
You've done a great job. And then you've also brought in a team member.
Yes.
And Taylor.
Yes, she's incredible.
We'll have to have her on soon too, because she is so talented. Let's talk about how that she sets you apart just from like a basic organizer. I know she has interior design eye.
Yes.
And I know she transformed our bathroom in the salon
within seconds.
This huge moment when you walk in, which was everything I had dreamed of. Yes. And it's so crazy because I know for me, as being in the beauty industry, you appreciate spaces that are beautiful.
Yes.
You in your life, where you go, when I visit restaurants, everything. And so that was something that was super important to me. But with all my other responsibilities, it was so hard for me to get that headspace.
Yeah.
But then
absolutely.
you and Taylor roll in and you translate everything that I was thinking, what I wanted for that. So, yeah. So how did you find her? What happened? How was it? I need to know.
Well, she was a client and I totally poached her.
Yes.
I walked into her space and the range of styling and design was incredible. It didn't quite fit into one category. And I recognized that right from the beginning. And we just chatted and she's just got that thing. I love it. And I've always paid attention to the pain points of clients and women in general.
Yes.
We're all kind of built similarly with just our capacity and where, kind of the, shames behind closed doors. It's we really want to be perceived in a certain way. And we work really hard to do that. But behind closed doors, there's a little bit of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So when I met Taylor, it all just clicked. It's everything I ever wanted. And wasn't quite sure how to make that happen as one person.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always done the editing and the styling. But I have to edit first. I don't have that thing where you can walk into a space
I need to clear this space out before we do anything, before we go through anything. Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel like I would be the same way.
I had to. I couldn't quite overcome that. It just wasn't, to go from focusing all of your energy into the edit side of things and the functionality side of things. And then once that's done, quickly switch gears into layering and styling. I was doing it, but I knew it could be done better.
Yeah.
And
I
to
think
create
as a
that
leader,
team,
you kind of I feel like that's the number one thing you have to realize. And it's a hard pill to swallow. And you've done so well at it. You have to let go and realize that there's some people on your team, or there's some people out there that you haven't even met that are going to be such an asset because they can do something that you really don't want to do. And they're way better at it than you.
I love both sides of it, but to switch gears in your brain like that, it was just difficult.
Yes. And it's hard to give up the control, or at least it was for me. And then slowly after a few years, I've delegated things, and those things have flourished because those people are way more talented in that area than I was, and
100%.
Have more of a heart for it. So 100%. It's great.
And you get to focus on what you're brilliant at.
Yes.
And I think just the level of care that I wanted my clients to have.
Yeah.
It was the deciding factor.
Yes.
It was, the wardrobe styling. It was,
Gosh, that changed my life.
Yeah, that was so fun. Oh,
yes.
It's still so
and
fun.
we're going to do it in the spring too.
Oh, so I love that part. But those are just things I've paid attention to. What my clients really need.
Yeah.
And knowing that I don't have that skill set when it comes to wardrobe.
No.
I can go through the process with you.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you what to
cleaning
add.
Your closet out more fun. At first, you need to do it, and that the system that you're doing right now is not great, especially even my husband, which I want to touch on that later. But I know I need to do it, but knowing that I have somebody that can take like the outfits that I have for work, or like, and know like my lifestyle, like, hey, I'm at the salon, like I'm most likely going to wear black because we do a lot of color and it's crazy. But I want to look nice, but I can't also spend this astronomical amount of money on these clothes because I might drop color on it. Right. And I feel like she understood that and she like found me stuff from like Target and H&M that looked super professional for all these things like podcasts and salon world, you know, and everything. And then you helped me like come up with a situation for my closet to where it makes my daily life easier. And then she filled it with things that made like getting dressed easier, I guess, more so.
I think that bringing in, I mean, you're a mom, you're a business owner.
Yeah.
I mean, you're all these things. Like you're at some point, you just have to call it and say, I mean, I've got nothing left.
I know.
I mean, I'm spent in every other category. So to bring someone in that can tell you, this is it.
Yeah. Because, you know, and I feel like a lot of us, especially since the pandemic has happened, we haven't really like shopped for ourselves. And we don't even know what's in style anymore. We're like, what is the style? Like, there's like pilgrim dresses on one end and then there's crop tops on the other end.
What am I supposed to do with this?
And like, I don't really know where I go. And like, you know, say like my child's like childcare got called off today because somebody tested positive for COVID. This was the day I was going to go shopping. Like, this is overwhelming. So having somebody like that you can get in contact with that can send you like, she like literally sent me links.
I know, it was wonderful.
And it was great.
I had such a fun time too. Yes, to see the magic happen.
It was awesome. So when you work with families, when you work with businesses, because you worked with really pretty much everyone in my family, I think now.
I think so.
Like my mom, my uncle, like my whole family.
Yeah.
And my business and with my team members, like really it was you and my team that executed everything at the salon. How do you, because obviously there's like a head person of the household, usually the wife, that wants your services, wants you to come in and do all the things. How do you navigate other family members, like with their stuff and their things? Because I know like my husband at first was a little bit more reserved, like, what are we doing? What is this?
They all are.
Yes.
They all are.
So how do you navigate that with a guy? Like, listen, I've had this shirt since high school. Like, this is my shirt, even though it's falling apart and you don't wear it anymore. It doesn't fit you anymore. Like, how do you navigate those scenarios?
I will say that I'm pretty careful about staying in our lane in the beginning.
Yes.
And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but the husbands never get it. They never get it at first. And they're like, whatever makes you happy. I think I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Going. They're tired of hearing us.
But I will say it's the husbands that there's the most transformation in.
1010%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Once they get it and once it clicks, they're the first ones to reach out and say, hey, things are feeling a little heavy. So watching that shift in husbands is one of my favorite things. Yeah. So in the beginning, we just kind of stay in our lane. Yeah. We focus on kind of typically it is the wife. So we focus on kind of that domain with her clothes, the kitchen, and then it's contagious. I mean, the husbands are like, okay, hold on a second.
And they're like, this is so not, I know that when Daniel came in, like, he was like, oh, wow, like, this is awesome. Like, I actually like went to find scissors and I found them. Yeah. Or I went to like find a pen, which is, I know it's insane, but I'm just laying it all out there. I mean, there was times in our, like, where we couldn't even find a pen in our whole kitchen and our whole, he was like, I was looking for my pen and I found it. Like, everything has a spot.
Yeah.
And so.
And I think that it's a pretty wonderful thing for couple dynamics.
Yes. Because I think you take out, like, as being like a couple, I feel like you take the stress out of like, I made these decisions and this is where this and this goes. And if you don't put it back, then I'm mad, whatever.
Yeah.
Like when you come in, it's like, okay, Amanda made the system and this is what, what it is. And it takes a lot of stress off me because I'm like, okay, now like you explain it, I'll tell him, like, and then we enforce it even as a family, like, even for Wade, when he grows up, like he knows where things are.
Absolutely.
And it's just easier. And I know, like, I remember talking to Dana when we were first going to hire you, and you had worked with our best friends, their family. And even it was actually the husband that was like the selling point for Dana. He's like, once you have this, like, you won't go back. It's so nice. And then you also help with like moves. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think that that's an important thing too. Like, a lot of people are like moving during this time. Like, a lot of people are just like, I feel like I've used the pandemic to figure out what they want out of life, and like, let's move and let's do, like, when it comes to packing up and moving, is it kind of the same thing as you would when you organize, like, get rid of everything first and then categorize it? Or,
absolutely. Okay. I typically don't move room by room, like when I pack. Okay. It is because we don't want to go in to a new space with these preconceived notions of what was before. Okay. So when you break that up into categories and you do it in that way, and then you move. I mean, we certainly know what's going to go in a master bedroom or a kitchen, that kind of stuff. Yes. But in general, we just collect everything in one category and in one room, one world. Yeah. And like, assess that.
Or this is like,
we're all cleaning supplies. Okay. That may have been in, 7 different places in the house. Okay. We're going to take that category, do it all at once, really figure out, okay, what are you grabbing for? Yeah. So even though that's a small category, we're going to put all of that together. Okay. And really break that down and figure out what's working for you, what's not working for you, and take that edit to the next level, so that when you move, you already have this system in place. I love that. And that's pretty much for every category.
It's so much easier to unpack. I know that my mom moved during a time where she had like a health situation, and like that helped so much because things were just done. It was easy to unpack. Like, everything was where it was supposed to be, and it was a lot less stressful that way. And I think that people need to know, like, that's another service that you offer. It's not just like for bougie, like, no. Like, I think there's this preconceived notion that it's only for certain people or for a TV show. Real people can't live like that when they can.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think that people either think it's like one extreme or another. It's super, super messy, crazy, or it's, these extravagant locations. It's just for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's for everyone in one space. And if the budget isn't huge, I think even focusing on one area and hiring somebody and going through that process with them, there's so much to be learned from that. Yes. Because it's more, there's
more of like a skill with it versus like what you do and what you spend.
Helping creating those habits. And there's a lot of coaching involved. Yeah. About kind of switching up some habits that may not work for you anymore, and really thinking through what would be best. Yeah. It's a really incredible thing. And that's why I said in the beginning, like, when I meet people, I'm already seeing them on the other side of this process. Mm-hmm. And that's the most important part for me. Like, when people hire Simplify, I want not just for like there to be this pretty pantry, but which is awesome, which we love.
I have, and I love it.
But I want there to be,
but it inspired me to cook healthier meals for my family because I could find things, and like,
that's what it's about.
Yes. That's what it's about. Like, it was easier for me to do things in my daily life better because like I was set up for it.
Yes. That's prepared. My favorite part. Like, I think I want there to be a before Simplify and after Simplify. Yeah. Like a recognizable pivot.
Oh, it is. I mean,
in people's lives.
Like, it's so funny. Like, and I know like some of my friends may listen to this. Like, I was the girl in high school that, like, they called my car like the BFI, like trash truck. Like, I was like not organized. I was on the other spectrum of that because I am a creative, and sometimes, and especially before I became a mom, I was fly by the seat of my pants, like whatever, like kind of like a gypsy in a way. But I quickly realized I was going through these cycles in my life to where like it was really hard for me to be on that creative side when everything was so crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you do in your business, like, helps people like me to, like, still get to be creative and still get to do that, but then have these, like, boundaries with it.
Yes.
To where it doesn't get, like, so crazy.
Well,
it's like, I remember, I think somebody, like, one of my, like, old, like, dearest friends was like, I don't even know you. Like, what is this? Like, you're usually like, whatever, you know. But it's nice. Like, once you do have those systems, you want to keep them up. And so.
And you're very sensitive to when they're no longer working. Like,
yes, it's a big source of,
once you've had that relief and freedom, it doesn't go back.
No.
It really doesn't.
No.
You're just way more sensitive to the heaviness of things. That
you're also, like, I know I'm a lot more careful with what I consume as a consumer too, like what I buy, what I, you know, and I really think about things. So in a way, I feel like it's probably helped my budget too, because I'm like, am I really going to wear this? Am I really going to use this in my kitchen? Or am I just buying this on a whim and it's just going to sit there for a year and me not touch it? So that touches a lot more than, you know, just organizing, I guess.
No, it really does. I mean, you brought up scissors. When you can find your scissors, you're not going out and buying new scissors. So eventually it kind of,
if I had a project or something, I would just be like, whatever, I'm not digging through that. I'm just going to go and do a Target pickup real quick. I'll be back, you know, so.
And it is very convenient these days with Target pickup or Instacart. You can kind of do that. So I think in the long run, it does end up saving. And your habits do change, and you think about that. And once we've created the space, and this is the volume that's going to live in this space, you realize,
like, I really don't need as much as I thought I needed. Yeah. And all this, like, extra time, you have so much extra time to, like, pour into the passions that you want versus, like, feeling like you have to shop for something all the time, or, you know, like, it's just easier just to like live your life. I know that's like really deep about organizing, but
but that's what it's about.
That's what it's done for me. And even like with my child, like, I feel like I can see he plays better when he just has his few little things, you know, instead of like, oh gosh, there's so many things in here, I don't know what to play with, I'm not going to play it all. You know?
I love that we started from the beginning.
Yes.
It makes, I mean,
I would recommend that to anybody.
I don't think it's a secret that I'm like obsessed with Wade. I love that boy.
Yes.
But it's been so fun to we literally started when he was in newborn clothes. So I've been there throughout this whole process.
He's about to face the 3T, which is crazy.
Well, I'm ready for that because when 2T hit, I was like, there was like a mourning period for me because
he's a toddler.
We had done 3 to 6 and 6 to 9 and just done that reset, you know, just every time. So I got to be there when he would get into the next size.
Yes.
2T hit hard because I was like, oh my gosh.
It did. So for everyone wanting to get in touch with you, what's your Instagram? What's your website?
Yes, the Simplifystyle.com is my website, and Simplifystyle on Instagram is me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I hope that this has helped all of y'all out there with your New Year's resolutions, getting organized, all the things, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.